Welcome to the Vault Excel. This is live number 2. Thank you for joining me. Please check out my earlier live from this morning. The Queen sharing her journey of the unknown. 2-hour live. Queen's had a little episode. Don't really know what's going on with my health and female organs, but anywho, I decided to share that with the viewing audience only because I was upset yesterday, feeling, rather down and didn't know what was going on. Just to give a little recap, thought it was because I was missing home, but obviously, Sweet Mary decided to pay me a visit. So check out that earlier live where you can go into the belly of the beast to hear the Queen's take on whatever the hell is going on, because I don't really know what's going on, but I will be calling medical care tomorrow to see basically what the hell is going on with my health. And when I get an update, I'll bring you that set information. Hello, Skylar. I'm going to read you P. Diddy first because it's the longest content. This is a 5-part live. Sean Puffy Combs, R. Kelly's daughter, has brought forward information of sexual allegations and also that she was in a psych ward. Garth Brooks, Leilani Simon, and Sarah Boone. 5-part live. Sean Diddy Combs is accused of sexual assault in another lawsuit with a woman alleging the music mogul raped her after she made a comment suggesting he is involved in the murder of Tupac Shakur Ashley Parham, alleges that Combs raped her in March 2018 in an apartment in Orinda, California, according to a copy of the complaint filed in U.S. District Court, Northern California. Parham alleges that she was with a man also named as a defendant in the suit in February 2018 who was FaceTiming Combs. Parham said that she was not impressed with Combs because she believed he had something to do with the murder of rapper Tupac. Combs allegedly told Parham she would pay for her comment. Following month, Parham alleged she was at the other defendant's apartment, having been asked to help with his cancer medication when Combs showed up with several people, including his chief of staff, Christina Karam, who was named as a defendant in the suit, has been named in a previous suit accusing Combs of misconduct. So that's the other lady who I was talking about that's also been looped into these allegations, a Christina Karam. She was his chief of staff. Parham claims that Combs held a knife to her face, allegedly threatened to cut her face, according to the complaint, which also accuses Karam of threatening Parham by telling her she could be shipped anywhere in the world and would never see her family again. So if these allegations are true, Diddy really show up to this guy's apartment with all these people? Why do you need all these people with you? Very interesting. People was not able to immediately reach Karam or an attorney for her for comments. After Karam and another unidentified defendant left the apartment, Parham alleges in the complaint that Combs violently raped her with a remote control and told her that her life was in his hands. The complaint alleges that Parham later went to the Contra Costa Sheriff to report the alleged rape and mentioned Combs' name to no avail, which led her to assume she would not believe that she would use Combs' names or English. People reached out to the sheriff's office for comment, but did not receive an immediate response. Wednesday, October 16. Combs' reps declined to comment on his new lawsuit, but in a motion in federal court asked to name the mogul's accusers. Combs' legal team claimed that recent suits have been filed on the heels of more than a dozen lawsuits previously filed and currently pending, several of which have already been discredited but only after irreparably damage. All these words. Anyway, I'm not about to read all this. It's stupid. With all these lawsuits, 120 new accusers, one allegedly was a male at the time, 16 years of age, a boy. Sean now wants people to be named publicly. Okay? Oops, sorry about that.
Bluetooth.
Sorry about that. Sean Combs wants the names mentioned publicly of all the people filing lawsuits against him. For what? To try to intimidate them? What? You're locked up, so what are you going to do? Get somebody to try to go along with it? Just asking. Are you going to try to shame these people by what? Getting somebody to go after them? That means you'd have to talk on tape. And naturally, they're going to probably check all of his mail, read all of his mail, also his phone conversations in jail, in the detention center in Brooklyn. So if you're trying to do anything, I don't see how that's going to work. I'm just saying. So that's the latest on that Diddy mess. Now I'm trying to pull up this other, and it's not letting me. Okay. Business Insider. So we've got several people. Won't let me pull it up. His son, this other music executive, another wealthy guy, listed as complaints. Perpetrators alongside Sean Puffy Combs. Hello, everybody in the chat. It's a matter of what you believe. Aaron Hall, he's mentioned. Justin, he's mentioned. And as I said, Cuba Gooding Jr., he's mentioned. We get that allegation from Lil Rod, the producer, who lived with Sean for a year. And then there were two other guys, music mogul, music executive, and this other guy. I don't know if he's Caucasian or what his race is. But now we have other people mentioned alongside Sean Puffy Combs in lawsuits. Let's go to R. Kelly. Thank you for joining me. This is pertaining to his daughter, Joan. More nonsense. More nonsense. All right, everybody, hold on. I'm trying to pull it up. I don't know what's information's not pulling up for some reason. It's weird. Well, it's buffering. Hey, Brooke, Lady Lolo, Skylar. Lolo, I hope you're feeling better. Well, for some reason this content don't want to pull up. It's only when you start talking about crazy stuff. R. Kelly's daughter, Buku Abi, has doubled down on her claims and says her father's abuse led to her being in a psych ward. People report that Buku claims to have been molested by the disgraced singer when she was 8 after years of sexual abuse. The woman, who is now 26, stated that she had tried to take her own life to deal with the pain. Joan Kelly detailed her experience in the new documentary, R. Kelly's Karma Daughter's Journey, saying, for a long time I was in a really hard space mentally, and so I ended up in a mental hospital, a psych ward, whatever you want to call it. I hit a point in my life where multiple times I had tried to take my own life. Okay, so how old was she and how long was she in the psych ward? She's now 26 years of age. She's alleged these crimes took place between the ages of 8 and 10. Said she was 10 years old, revealed the hardships to her mother, Andrea Kelly, telling her that she was mentally unwell due to the abuse. The aspiring singer explained that her mother had seen other signs of her daughter being unwell, recalling a moment when Andrea discovered slashes along her wrist. Wow, didn't know that. She just immediately dropped everything and was asking, what's going on? Are you okay? R. Kelly's daughter recalled. She was really worried. And in that moment, I broke down and I had to tell her, like, I don't think I am okay. I don't think that I can do this. I don't think that I'm going to make it through to live out the rest of my life. That day, she called the hospital and she ended up checking me in, and I didn't leave. Joan said I was there for about 2.5 weeks. I was on a really hard suicide watch, and then for 2-3 months after that, I was an outpatient basically, so I had to go there every day. Buku Abi previously made headlines after she revealed that her dad sexually abused her when she was a little girl. Abi claimed that she woke up to R. Kelly touching her one night and she pretended to be asleep. Let's hear that from E! News. One second, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, honey. Pray for me, because I don't know what's going on with Queen. I've got some craziness going on myself, so I just pray everything's okay with my own health.
Kelly alleges he sexually abused her as a child.
Thank you for joining me.
Joanne Kelly, who also goes by the name Buku Abi, alleges that the R&B singer sexually abused her when she was 8 or 9. She tearfully says in the 2-part TVEI network documentary, Karma, A Daughter's Journey, for People magazine, I just remember waking up to him touching me, and I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of laid there, and I pretended to be asleep. The documentary, released October 11th, states she told her mother, R. Kelly's ex-wife Drea Kelly, about the alleged abuse in 2009 when she was 10. In a statement to People, R. Kelly's attorney, Jennifer Bonjean, says Mr. Kelly vehemently denies these allegations. A trailer for the special was released September 29th.
He was my everything. For a long time, I didn't even want to believe that it happened. I didn't know that even if he was a bad person, that he would do something to me. I really feel like that 1 millisecond completely just changed my whole life.
Joanne was not named as one of the victims during Kelly's 2021 trial. In the trailer, she also vows to be open about her experiences with her son and keep him away from the singer.
If my son asks questions, I'm going to be as truthful as possible. But I would not be taking my son to a prison.
Thanks, Skylar.
To meet his grandfather.
Joanne's mother, R. Kelly's ex-wife Drea Kelly, also appears in the documentary.
Just because you're not a good husband doesn't mean you can't be a good father. And the fact that he didn't even try. What he did to me, he did to me. But you didn't have to do it to the damn kids.
R. Kelly was convicted in 2021 of racketeering and sex trafficking charges and sentenced to 30 years in prison. In 2022, he was found guilty of child pornography and enticing minors for sex and sentenced to 20 years behind bars. On October 7th, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear an appeal that the singer had filed over the latter conviction, multiple outlets reported. R. Kelly is serving 19 years of both of his sentences concurrently and is eligible for release in 2045.
All right, that's the R. Kelly commentary. Feel free to check it out on the network. Lord, I can't remember. I don't know if it's TVEI, something like that. It's in the Roku app. You have to pay for it though, a couple dollars a month in order to watch the content. Let's finish this commentary. So we have her saying that the mother had seen the signs of the daughter not being well, discovering, seeing slashes on the girl's wrist. She dropped everything, make sure the child was okay. The child basically said she didn't think she was going to make it through to the rest of her life. That day she called the hospital. She ended up checking me in. I didn't leave. I was there for about 2.5 weeks. I was on a really hard suicide watch once again. And then for 2 or 3 months after that, I was outpatient basically. So I had to go there every day. Once again, Joan has made headlines after she revealed that her father allegedly sexually abused her when she was a little girl. Woke up to him touching her one night and she pretended to be asleep. I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of laid there and I pretended to be asleep. She said in a clip teasing in the documentary, he was my everything for a long time. I didn't even want to believe that it happened. I didn't know that even if he was a bad person, that he would do something to me. I was too scared to tell anybody. I was too scared to tell my mom. As I had said before, when I was listening to this information weeks ago, I kept trying to say, what are they alluding to? Did he touch her, not touch her? So now we know allegedly that he did touch his daughter. He's denied all the allegations, of course, of sexual misconduct, sexual abuse of his own daughter. I really feel like that 1 millisecond completely just changed my whole life, changed who I was as a person, changed the sparkle I had in life. I used to carry. Buku Avi said of the traumatic experience after I told my mom I didn't go over there anymore. My brother Robert and sister Ja, we didn't go over there anymore. And even up until now, I struggle with it a lot. If you're thinking about suicide, worried about a friend or loved one, you would like emotional support, please contact the 24-hour National Suicide Prevention Lifeline by dialing 988. Yahoo Entertainment is the source. So Joan is brought forward allegations she was molested around the age of 8 or 9. R. Kelly denies all the allegations. But as I said before, my commentary pertaining to R. Kelly and now Sean Puffy Combs, if you molest a child, a stranger's child, a relative's child, you would also molest your own. What would be the difference? I don't see a difference. A child's a child, victim's a victim. I don't see that these perpetrators are differentiating on who they would molest and not molest. And we also getting allegations, once again, same as with R. Kelly and now Sean Puffy Combs. They are dual offenders. They like to molest boys and girls, molest women and also molest men. So they're dual offenders, bisexual men, down low men. That is what has been alleged about R. Kelly and now Sean Puffy Combs. Did he molest his child? Did he molest his other children? As I said, he's been accused of molesting other girls, boys. He also liked young girls to dress up. That's what he told Geronda once he realized how old she was. And he said, well, nobody has to know how old you are. You can dress up and pretend you're younger. So I believe her when she said that in the R. Kelly docuseries. I believe Geronda when she said that. Well, nobody has to know. And we know he likes children because he sexually assaulted Aaliyah. Aaliyah was a child when he met her. And her uncle brought her into the fold with R. Kelly. Her parents allowed this uncle to be over her as a guardian to get her into the music business. And this is what he did. This is the favor he turned on his own niece, was to have her left in the custody of R. Kelly. So R. Kelly sexually assaulted her, got her pregnant, got her an abortion, and he married this same female who was underage. So we don't really have to sit up here and ponder what he did and didn't do as a man, as a thing, as a creature. Aaliyah is prime example that he likes children because she was a minor when he bedded her, raped her, got her pregnant, and married her. Checkmate. So I'm not going to sit here and question his daughter and nobody else. I believe the allegations. Because as I said, pedophiles don't usually differentiate between the victims. They like whomever they like. And if they like boys, they'll be with any boy. White, black, Hispanic. They like girls, they'll be with a white girl, black girl, don't care. So we have allegations of children, both sexes, and also men and women, both sexes. And I believe the allegations. I brought you information pertaining to Sean Combs. A woman was raped allegedly by him in California at a friend's house apartment because she made a nasty comment that he murdered Tupac Shakur. She alleges he raped her with a remote control. Naturally, there are new lawsuits on the books. Allegations that some of the people involved who know him have already paid out victims. How many people are famous that have paid out victims? How many victims have been paid? How many famous people have made the payments? Mr. Busby tells us that if people don't comply by his demand letters, this attorney out of Texas, that they will reveal your government name. So we do have some famous people names who have been mentioned in lawsuits. And we have Mr. Aaron Hogg, Cuba Gooding Jr. We also hear that there's a famous person in a tape with him that has been alleged to be a child minor in one of the sex tapes that was filmed in his Atlanta, Georgia home, the home he had at one time. Lots of allegations. It is sickening. But Sean says, I want to hear the name of the accusers. I want their names on paper. So will these people be revealed? They're slowly coming out and their names have been mentioned. Once again, R. Kelly's daughter claimed sexual abuse by her father and that she was in a psych ward for 2.5 weeks. Mother noticed she also had slashes on her wrist, where obviously she tried to take her own life. Is she now still suicidal? You also heard in the commentary her talking about not taking her son to visit R. Kelly in prison. She has no need to take him there. And she will one day explain to him why her father is incarcerated. And I also would assume she would tell her son about her father sexually abusing her. Garth Brooks. He submits a photo of rape accuser to evidence after revealing her name. So we got this tit for tat going on between Garth Brooks and this accuser. A lot of crazy nonsense. And now here is the latest information. Garth Brooks has not only identified his accused of sexual assault by name, the country music icon has now entered a photo into the evidence as well per In Touch. According to the report, Brooks, 62, said his ex-hairstylist was the one who publicized the situation. However, earlier this month, a woman accusing Brooks of sexual assault called out the singer for publicly releasing her name, saying he did it out of spite. Let's see who this person is, if this person has something to say pertaining to these allegations. What a hot butter mess. She also used to work for his wife, Trisha. Is Trisha standing by her man? Why did she quit working for Trisha? What were the circumstances of that relationship? It's a lot of nonsense going on right now, everybody. Just a lot of nonsense going on with everybody. We got more allegations of sexual abuse. Oh, this was something else. I thought this was going to be about him showing the woman who he's mentioned. So far, I'm not hearing anything. I thought she was going to speak out. However, earlier this month, the woman accusing Brooks of sexual assault called out the singer for publicly releasing her name, saying he did it out of spite. So we got a week or two ago, he put her name out there, and now he's put out her photo. Boy, this is bad. This ain't going to end well with Garth Brooks and this female. In September, though, Brooks filed a federal lawsuit against the accuser, but he used the pseudonym John Doe for himself and Jane Roe for the hairstylist. Per In Touch, Brooks said Jane Roe already agreed to use her name in litigation. He claims that she refused to keep both their names out of her lawsuit. She allegedly told the court she was willing to identify herself if it was necessary to prevent Brooks from proceeding under a pseudonym. No law, statute, or rule obligated Mr. Brooks to file his original complaint or his amended complaint with pseudonyms or under seal, his legal team stated. He initially used pseudonyms for both parties in his original complaint and immediately moved for leave for both parties to proceed under pseudonyms. Sorry about the background noise. In an effort to protect both parties and their families from any harm resulting from public disclosure of Roe's attempted extortion of Mr. Brooks, they added, Roe could have embraced the opportunity to remain anonymous, but chose not to. So right now they're doing this tit for tat back and forth. She put his name in her paperwork. He put her name, and now it's all coming out. So who is this lady? Most outlets are not going to mention her name because they don't mention alleged sexual abuse victims by name or photographs. So who is this Jane Roe? Naturally, you can go pay the court, as some of you like to do, pay the court to get this that information. It's just a matter of who's going to put her name out there. I'm sure it will get out eventually because it's public information once it hits the courtroom. 1 second, everybody. Thank you for joining me. One brief intermission. Hold on, everybody. I'm multitasking while I'm on the live. Please do a little bit of everybody. Don't even ask what I'm doing. Too much. But I want to get this out because I'm days behind the content with R. Kelly, Garth Brooks. So I want her to get this information out. Thank you for joining me. 5-part live. Tune into the earlier live from this morning. Thank you for the support, the kind words. So we talked about R. Kelly's daughter being in a psych ward, alleging abuse from her father as a child, her feeling like she couldn't go on, disappointed that he would do this to her. You hear her mother in the audio saying, hey, it's one thing to mistreat me, but not my children. We also hear the DHS was involved, but no claims were founded. Very interesting information. But as we have learned with child abuse, child sexual abuse, does not mean the claims aren't true just because they were unfounded. Because that's just like any allegation. You are presumed innocent in a court of law until evidence says you either did it or you didn't. But as I said before, a sadist is a sadist. They don't differentiate in their victims. If you will assault a little girl, you'll assault your own child. That's how I look at it. You assault your neighbor's child, a boy, you'll do it to your own son. What's the difference? That's how I look at it. Garth Brooks, crazy nonsense going on. Him and this woman, who is she? Is this consensual, the sex they had? Allegations of him holding her upside down. Just a bunch of crazy nonsense. I don't know how that was possible anyway. Holding a person upside down to have sex. It's weird. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that at all. Thank you for joining me. Here is our fourth commentary, Sarah Boone. Let's see what Spectrum News has to say about this crazy bat here.
Story in Cuba tonight, where the island is experiencing.
Oh no, that's not it. See, they didn't. I thought this was going to show her. So I hate these videos. They'll have other news content mixed in. Sorry about that. Opening statements pertaining to Sarah Boone. As most of you know, she's been accused of zipping up her boyfriend in a suitcase left him to suffocate February 2020 at their Winter Park apartment. Boone is facing second-degree murder charges in the death of Jorge Torres Jr. Investigators discovered videos on Boone's phone. Torres begging to be let out. Defense attorneys claim Boone acted in self-defense, saying Torres physically abused her. So she left her boyfriend in a suitcase for him to suffocate to death. Do you believe she was a battered woman? Do you believe she was just in what she did to Jorge? Jury heard witness testimony from Torres' brother, as well as Boone's ex-husband, who said that the defendant called him before she called 911 the evening of Torres' death. Well, that's what's weird, because why would you be calling the husband, the ex-husband, before you called 911? Because my understanding, she didn't discover him dead until that morning, the next morning. So you calling the man your ex-husband, that don't sound right. If I'm reading this correctly, why would you be calling your ex-husband when you haven't even dialed 911 and allegedly you went to sleep? So there's something funky about that, if I'm repeating that correctly. According to the 2020 arrest affidavit, Boone told Orange County deputies that Torres got into the suitcase when they were playing hide and seek. She said they both had consumed a lot of alcohol and she fell asleep. She said she later found Torres unresponsive and called 911. So now we have a different conversation. She told an officer she wasn't drunk, but yet here she said she consumed a lot of alcohol. So maybe she said that during interrogation, but she said one thing in interrogation, assumingly different than what she told officer on camera. Whose idea was it to get in the suitcase? That's what I'm curious about. Did he say, yeah, let's get in the suitcase. I'll get in the suitcase. Let's take a turn. Or she said, hey, I want to see if you can get in there. You're a little guy. Let me see you get in there. The sick part is that she had to zip him up because he couldn't zip himself up from the inside. That's where it shows that he didn't zip himself up. And she stupidly filmed him begging to get out, to be let out. She didn't let him out. During opening statements this week, prosecutors argued Boone had a conscious disregard for whether Torres lived or died, citing videos Boone had recorded on her phone of Torres begging for her to open the suitcase. Initial investigation revealed 2 videos on Boone's phone that depict Torres telling Boone he can't breathe and pleading for her to let him out of the suitcase. I can't effing breathe, seriously, Torres said, according to the affidavit. Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me, Boone replies. Later, Torres continued to tell her he can't breathe. Boone says, that's on you. Oh, that's what I feel like when you cheat on me, the affidavit reads. Investigators say one video shows Torres pushing on the suitcase in an attempt to get out. This defendant zipped Jorge Torres shut in a suitcase. She was able to do this because at the time of his death, he weighed 103 pounds. That's not a lot of weight for a guy. But I'm sure this comes from alcohol use, drug usage, so he didn't carry a lot of weight. Now, he probably naturally was a thin guy, but also using the drugs, he wouldn't have any weight on him because the drugs would be his preference, his vice. She did this with a malicious intent to punish him, and then she went up to sleep and left him to take his final breaths on this earth alone, Prosecutor William J. said. So did she maliciously kill her boyfriend? Did she even go upstairs? How do you know? Nobody knows. We also heard from neighbors who testified that they argued a lot. The guy ignored her because he didn't like drunk people, and he just stayed out of the way. Did see her outside at one point, out back, I think, on a porch or something. But that they fought a lot and fought often. That's what one of the neighbors testified, who no longer lives in Florida. Despite the video evidence, the defense claims Boone acted in self-defense, calling it battered spouse syndrome and saying Torres physically abused her. There's no higher calling than to right or wrong, and we're going to ask you to right this wrong and find Sarah Boone not guilty because she was justified in the force that she used to defend herself, defense attorney James Owen said. Officials say both had a history of violence with each other. However, Boone was also charged in 2018 with battery by strangulation, dating violence, according to 2018 affidavit. Wow. Strangulation. Wow, that's deep. Boone is expected to testify in the trial. Spectrum News 13 is the source. So they both have been arrested for violence against one another. And a lot of states will even arrest you if you fight back. I've seen that in YouTube videos recently. The woman is acting out, fighting back. And next thing you know, she's in handcuffs, which I don't think that's right. If somebody jumped a woman and started hitting her, pushing her, why can't she defend herself? But some states have those laws that even if you show that you have hit that person, strangled them, whatever, whether you're the woman or not, you can also be arrested as well. Very sick information. Hello, Jess. Thank you for joining me. So did she kill him in cold blood? Weigh in. Did she deliberately ask him to get in that suitcase to kill him? What really happened in that apartment? Lots of questions. Lots of questions. Lots of questions. Sorry about that brief intermission. Did you deliberately ask him to get in the suitcase? Or did he ask to get in it? Hey, zip me up. Had he done it before? Will we find out he's done it before? The gist of that is, even if she says it in court, we don't have any proof that they played this game before. It'll be up to your assertion that they played this suitcase game. A lot of people say she's been smirking in court, don't seem to show any remorse for her decedent boyfriend. Gonna go back to day 4 of the Leilani Simon trial, Thursday. Recapping Thursday, Friday. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign Big Angie 129. Cash App, Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you so much for your time. The defense grilled Danny Youngkin, as they should, because that's their job. Some of you have a little more kindness in your heart towards Danny Youngkin, also the babysitter, but the defense did not feel that way because the defense feels like, one, Danny Youngkin, you were right there for the ride. You saw how she treated her children, her son, how she treated Quentin different. So you're part of the bullshit as well. Some may think the same about Michelle. Some of you think, well, she was there. She was the one that cared for him, took him in. But the gist of the story is almost a year of you not saying anything to law enforcement about her behavior with her children, that would be deemed an accessory as well. Because you can't now complain later about what Leilani did, didn't do, what Danny did, didn't do, when everybody sat back and watched this abuse unfold. We have witnesses testifying days ago how she mistreated her children, and those people weren't even living around her. The friend that lived in the other part of Georgia, this babysitter and her daughter testifying about her pushing the boy down, pushing him in the pool without a flotation device. You're witnessing that. So just because you allow somebody to come in your house, spend the night, you buying them clothes, shoes, Pampers, whatever, what difference does that make if they're going back to the same abusive house? That's what people need to understand. You're still playing a role in the demise of the child because you willingly know that they're being abused. They're not being treated well. They're not being fed. They're not being bathed. And what I've learned in my research, he would be dropped off shitty. So think about that for just a second. You allowing a child to come to your house in the early morning with shit all over them. How is that fair to him to not call the police or DHS? I'm just saying. Everybody's got to own their part because the boy's dead. He's not coming back. And his other siblings are now in the state's care. Don't know if they've been adopted or whatever. But the point is, the other children are lucky to even be alive too. Let's just keep it real. Let's recap day 4. Thank you for joining me. Leilani Simon stands trial for malice murder, felony murder linked to the death of her son, Quentin, 2022. Testimony reveals drug use, troubling texts, witness accounts that suggest potential child abuse. Suspicions arose when Leilani Simon reportedly failed to retrieve orgeat from a co-worker on the morning her son went missing. And as you saw in that testimony, they zoomed in on a picture in the bathroom that shows Ambisol on a shelf in the bathroom in that house. So they know she had access to medicine. And also the person she said she went to see said she never visited with her at the trailer park or anywhere else. She hadn't seen her in months. Ex-co-worker. Medical professionals testify indicating Quentin's heart murmur did not cause his death. No abuse was suspected by his pediatrician. Witness accounts describe Leilani Simon's regret over not aborting Quentin and instances of her pushing and cursing at her children. So why didn't she have an abortion? Did she want to abort that child or any of the other children? Got to ask those questions. And common sense will tell you if you can kill one child, you can also kill another. So don't assume just because she was cruel to Quentin, she was lovey-dovey with the other children. She said she got angry when she was on cocaine, impulsive. So impulsive and angry is what it is. It's not going to differentiate between the children. I refuse to believe she was a great mother to the other children. There's no way you can be abusive and be a great mother to your other children while you're downing Quentin and dousing him with gasoline. It's bullshit. So we're going to go back to day 3 as well. So Danny Youngkin was cross-examined by the defense. Defense attorney Martin Hilliard questioned Youngkin about his history with alcohol and drug use. Court reviewed text messages between Youngkin and Simon, including one from September 30th, days before the disappearance of Quentin. Youngkin read aloud, like, I'm always supposed to deal with your asshole moves and the mean ass kids when you get mad and dip and take SHIT from me. When Hilliard probed further about the term SHIT, Youngkin clarified money, drugs, confirming he referred to all 3 of Simon's children as the mean ass kids. So see, this goes back to what I said to you all before you start jumping on the bandwagon, deciding who you want to side with. He watched this unfold with her. He watched her mistreat her children. So he doesn't get a pass from Queen. I don't want to hear any excuses about why he stayed. Oh, he wanted to watch his daughter. How are you watching your daughter and you also a drug user and an alcoholic? That doesn't even make any sense. He's admitted to getting high and drinking. Bottles found in the car that belongs to both. So how is he a better parent than Leilani? Because you don't have proof that he killed the kid? So what? He's still a misfit. And of course, he didn't like the defense attorney saying he wasn't a fit parent because he was questioned, well, how are you a better parent? And he told him, oh, well, you're entitled to your opinion. Well, we are all entitled to our opinion. But just because he cried in court does not mean he was better than Leilani, because he rode the ride. And you have his own words right here, specifying that the children were mean-ass children. Money, drugs, confirming he referred to all 3 of Simon's children as the mean-ass kids. Like I'm always supposed to deal with your asshole moves and the mean-ass kids when you get mad and dip and take SHIT from me. So basically, she was stealing from him. Following Youngkin's testimony, David Mullen, his former boss, briefly took the stand, followed by Missy Bray, Simon's former co-worker. Bray testified that Simon had told her she left home the morning her son was reported missing to retrieve orgeat from a friend. However, Bray claimed Simon never came to get the medication from her. Dr. Amanda Puentes, the last pediatrician for Quentin, was next to testify, stating she had no reason to suspect abuse. Kenneth Birch, pediatric cardiologist, also testified discussing his evaluation of Quentin's heart murmur. He stated that the defect could not have caused the child's death. Simon's brother, Paul, described frequent arguments between his sister and Youngkin. He also recalled Simon asking him for cigarillos on the night of October 4th. Despite the tense relationship, Paul noted that Quentin seemed to like Youngkin, who had accepted the responsibility of caring for the children despite feeling overwhelmed. Testimony from Melanie Boland, Simon's former neighbor, painted a disturbing picture. Boland described frequent communications with Simon during her pregnancy and claimed Simon expressed regret over not aborting Quentin. Now, this is a Melanie Boland, Simon's former neighbor. She also recalls Simon cursing at the children, referring to Quentin as a bastard child. The defense questioned Boone on her marijuana use and her claim that she communicated with Quentin's spirit before his remains were found. Oh, Lord. We always got a crystal ball reader, do we not? After a short recess, the state called Talia McCarter, a local 10th grader who lived near Simon. Talia recounted witnessing Simon push Quentin down, causing him to fall, detailed in the incident where Simon pushed Quentin into a pool without floaties. She also remembered Quentin falling down the stairs and spending extended periods at her home without Simon checking on him. Talia said she never reported the incidents. So many will say, well, the child, teenager, preteen, she didn't call authorities or anybody as well. Once again, Leilani Simon maintains her innocence, pleading not guilty to all charges. Once again, trial day 3 recap pertaining to Danny Youngkin, as I had brought you information the other day. Youngkin lived with Simon when the toddler went missing, admitted during his testimony that he did not check on Quentin the morning Simon reported the child missing. The state alleges that Quentin was not in his bed that morning, claiming Simon killed him overnight. Youngkin expressed regret over not checking on the child. And as I said in that commentary, why did he lie and say he saw the baby there? Was he just covering for her because he saw where this investigation was going? He thought maybe she did something to the kid, but he didn't want to come out and say it. So he said, well, I'll go ahead and lie and say I saw the child. Please go back to my earlier content from 2 years ago on this trial. On the disappearance of Quentin, because I didn't care for Danny Youngkin either, because naturally I didn't know him, I didn't know her. And what I saw of her and her mom's behavior, why would I trust a boyfriend? Why would I trust a brother? Because the one thing we've learned with child abuse cases, there's always eyewitnesses to the crimes, to the abuse. They may not have hit the child, they may not have hit the child, they may not have beat the child, they may not have put the child in a tub or a bag, but you witnessed abuse and you didn't do anything. Just saying. However, FBI agent Bridget Brock disputed Simon's account, asserting that Youngkin could not confirm he saw the toddler in the crib despite Simon's insistence. So naturally, she was trying to get Youngkin on as co-conspirator, basically, that he did see the baby in the play pad. Brock also highlighted further inconsistencies in Simon's statements. Surveillance footage revealed Simon's vehicle stopping at the dumpsters where Quentin's body was allegedly discarded. This contradicted Simon's claim that she had stopped at a nearby Chevron gas station. What is creepy about watching that video go, stop, turn on the signal, turn into this mobile park? It's the obvious. Everybody in the world was wondering where this child is, and here you now have a video showing her there on the property and dumping this kid. It's creepy. Because in your mind, you're trying to play it all out. What happened at the house? What did she take the child in? What did she dump the child in? So how did she murder the boy? Did anybody hear anything suspicious but won't say anything? In order to dump her child, that means she's left those other kids alone, sleep with Danny Youngkin. Did he hear her get up and get in the car? We also learned in testimony that she got up in the night and would stay gone doing whatever. We also learned she was sleeping with her drug dealer. And who's to say that this child is his? Did he ever get a DNA test to prove he's the father? The other child she had, who's to say who's the father of that child? See, nobody's really addressing any of this in their commentary. I am. I don't dance around the subject. If she's sleeping with her drug dealer, how do we know that this last baby is actually his baby? Stay woke. So has Danny gotten a paternity test for the child? I believe it's a girl. Lord have mercy. How long was she messing around with the drug dealer? When did they start messing around? How long was she messing around with the drug dealer? How long was she getting drugs from him? Is that child Danny Youngkin's? Stay woke, everybody. Additionally, FBI forensic anthropologist Dr. Angie Christensen testified that the remains found October 22nd belonged to a 1- and 2-year-old child who had suffered trauma before death. So they got DNA, the FBI, from Leilani and her mother, Billy Joel, asked to compare to the remains in the landfill. And Congress should have told them that once FBI came to them asking to take a swab, they should have known what time of day it was then. Oh, they found the baby. Stay woke, everybody. So it goes all the way back to day 2, recapping. So we have neighbors. The girl who she tried to use as an alibi that she got the medicine from, that never happened. Danny basically says he didn't see the child in the play pack. Now we're going to go to the babysitter and her daughter. Ex-neighbor testifying she was cruel to the child, cursing him out. Teenager saying that she would push the child down, throw him in the water without a floating. So who got him out of the water? Could he swim? Stay woke, everybody. Obviously he could. He didn't die then. See, this is what I'm talking about. This repeating SHIT after the fact. The child is dead. Brother and sister in state's care. And now everybody has a version of what went on in that house. Paul saying Daddy complained about keeping the kids all the time. We learned that she ran around and did what she wanted in the night. Times he'd wake up, she wasn't home. So why did he stay? And you can't use the excuse, oh, he stayed because of his daughter. That's bullshit. Because obviously he wasn't happy. She wasn't happy. Billy Joe and her husband, they weren't happy. Don't know what the hell was really going on with the brother Paul. But this house was just a barn full of wild animals grazing. And one child had to pay the piper for everybody's neglect. 22 ABC News, WJCL is the next source of this information pertaining to the babysitter. Miss Michelle. One second, everybody. Hope everybody's well. Have a wonderful week. Please check out my movie suggestion. TV series is playing on Hulu, Under the Bridge. It's my Sunday suggestion. Check it out.
And throwing her toddler son into a dumpster. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole joins us now live. And Andy, break down what happened in court today.
Yeah, Shannon, this video focuses on the early morning hours of October 5th, 2022. That's the day when Quentin was reported missing. Prosecutors say Leilani, in her Dodge Journey, drove into that mobile home park, not to see her friend Missy, as she's previously told investigators, but instead to throw away her own son. Wow. This is security footage from the Azalea Mobile Home Park from around 1 a.m. on October 5th. Prosecutors say Leilani Simon is behind the wheel of the SUV, heading for the dumpsters. This angle, captured from several homes away, is the closest video the state has. They say that bright light at the top shows Leilani parking by the dumpsters to throw Quentin's 20-month-old body away. Chatham County Police Forensic Supervisor Gary Scott Coleman testified about the camera layout in and around the mobile home park. This after babysitter Michelle McCarter took the stand.
The children, when they came to your home, were they sent with clothes, food, diapers, things that they would have needed?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so how was that handled?
Well, Zane always come dressed. Several times we got Quentin, and he would be in a long onesie, and he would have poop from all over.
McCarter testified that Leilani was a, quote, crappy mom, saying her then boyfriend, Daniel Youngkin, would primarily drop off and pick up the children. The defense was quick to point out that despite her feelings about Leilani's parenting, she never alerted DFACS officials.
You never reached out, and you weren't concerned enough between January and October to do that on your own, were you?
I was very concerned.
But not concerned enough to reach out and make a report.
I didn't have to. They reached out to me.
On Thursday, McCarter's 17-year-old daughter testified too, during which Leilani could be seen mouthing, "That's a lie," something prosecutors addressed early Friday.
She's running around acting like she didn't do that, but it's caught on video that she did. She has the absolute right to communicate to us her thoughts and her opinions.
Wow.
And shortly after that exchange between the two attorneys, Judge Tammy Stokes admonished Leilani for mouthing those words, advising her to do exactly what her lawyer told her to do, to write down any notes or whisper to them. Court is expected to resume Monday morning at 10 a.m. We'll be there and continue our gavel-to-gavel coverage. For now, outside of the Chatham County Courthouse, I'm Andy Cole, WJCL 22 News.
All right, a very intense day. Thanks so much, Andy, for that report.
So that's Friday. Court resumes tomorrow. WJCL 22 ABC News is the source of this information. So we hear that they were dropping the children off, but Danny was the drop-off guy. So he was the go-to guy for everything. The same guy she's displeased with, unhappy with, cheating on him with her dope dealer. He's the babysitter. He's the Uber. He's everything. Why didn't he leave? Once again, why did he stay? Why did Michelle file a report pertaining to the abuse of the children? She said Zane would come dressed, but the other ones were not. Quentin would come with a onesie on, with poop all over him on occasion. So how many occasions did he ever show up with poop? Poop like what? The onesie was filthy, nasty. So that means Danny put a child in that truck smelling like shit to the babysitter. I want you to think about that for just a second, for those of you who want to keep bragging about who Danny Youngkin is. I don't think he did anything. I don't think he knew the boy was dead. Blah, 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 blah. But you have the babysitter saying, children didn't come prepared with Pampers, diapers, and we learned that before the child was even found in the landfill, because they were telling all their business to YouTubers and so on and so forth 2 years ago. Shall I jog everyone's memory back? So Danny's this great boyfriend who got high and drunk. That means he was getting high and drunk on the watch with the children. Stay woke. So they could have burned the house down, wandered outside in the pool, wandered off into the street. We heard she slapped one of the kids because he wandered in the street, Quentin. So this is this great guy that you want to brag about. Oh, he stayed because of his daughter, but yet he would take a shitty baby in the AM to Michelle. I'll let that sit right there. Michelle McCarter watched the children and the siblings. There was a difference in the love she showed. She said, Quentin stayed a lot at our house. Quentin loved us. He was close to us and I just felt he would be better off at our house. Well, you see how that ended up. The children, when they came to your home, when they said were clothes, diapers, that was asked by the district attorney. She said, no, ma'am. Zane always came dressed. Several times we got Quentin and he'd be in a long onesie and he would have poop from all over, says McCarter. McCarter said she eventually bought and kept clothes for Quentin at her home. One of McCarter's daughters testified Thursday that she witnessed several instances of Simon being physically abusive toward Quentin. Wow, wow, wow. She said she was a crappy mom, saying her then boyfriend, Danny Youngkin, would primarily drop off and pick up the children. The defense was quick to point out that despite McCarter's feelings about Simon's parenting, she never alerted DFACS officials. You never reached out, weren't concerned enough between January and October 2022, just recapping what he said, to do that on your own. She said, I was very concerned, but not concerned enough to reach out and make a report, said Hilliard. I didn't have to. They reached out to me, said McCarter. Court will resume Monday morning. So what I'd like to know, when did the state reach out to Michelle? Let's see what this testimony is right here that they're gonna play. Let's play a little bit of everything. This is some drama from hell. See, telling the world about what Peter, Paul, Dick did after the fact, it means nothing. We hear these stories all the time where people love to talk and tell stuff, but it doesn't mean anything once a person's been abused, hurt, attempted murdered, can't get it back, can't go back. So nobody can save him. Pretty little boy, beautiful smile, cute little mole on his face. He's now dead. He was smushed down into nothing. In that garbage can in landfill, just a bone found with his DNA to verify who he is. And all this time he's been going over to these people's homes. She's saying, oh yeah, I bought him clothes, this, that, and the other, which wasn't her job. But look what happened to him in the end. So even though he was going to your house, he still ended up dead. That's the point. So that's what people need to understand about trying to intervene and say, well, I kept him sometimes, I kept her sometimes, I took him clothes, I did this. The person's dead. He's dead. So he wasn't saved. So it didn't matter that you were trying to do all these nice things for him. You still had to give him back to the rightful owner, which was Leilani. It's supposed to be his mother, Billy Joe, the grandmother, who's supposed to have custody of him. She's off in the wind, fucking off with her and her husband. So you're still sending the child back into the abyss. So really, you're not helping. Just like you're hearing all this new shit about the Menendez brothers and all this abuse, and I think they got abused. You think it or you know it. Because I listened to that commentary the other day. I'm going to bring you an update on that too. What we heard. Well, hearing and having proof are two different things. Do you have proof? The father was molesting the boy children. That's my point. And that's when we know they didn't have to kill their parents, but they did. Should they be free? Please take the poll on my community page. Let's get down to business pertaining to this court here.
And a mother accused of killing her toddler son. He's one of several people close to Leilani Simon taking the stand in her murder trial. WJCL 22 News' Andy Cole was in court today. He joins us now live.
And Andy, we know jurors heard from several key witnesses today. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's certainly right, Brooke. Lots of information to digest for those jurors. But there was also a moment the jurors didn't get to witness, something we as reporters were able to witness. In fact, lawyers vigorously debated on whether or not to include sexually salacious text messages before the jury. Those messages are between Leilani and her drug dealer, and prosecutors say it shows that the two of them were engaged in an affair. More on that in a little while. But as you mentioned, Brooke, several witnesses took the stand today, and most notably Melissa Bray. She's the woman Leilani told police she had met with before Quentin was reported missing. She had told police she was going to pick up Oragel. Now, Bray lived at the Azalea Mobile Home Park. That's where prosecutors say Leilani dumped Quentin's body. Bray testified that though she had not seen Leilani since July 2022, months before Quentin was killed, which is, of course, a major blow to Leilani Simon's story about what happened that night. Prosecutors, as I mentioned earlier, also fought to include text messages between Leilani and her drug dealer. Despite that being previously ruled inadmissible several times, the state fought hard. Take a look at the exchange.
He's right. He's absolutely right. He could have asked Mr. Young about these text messages, but he didn't. Okay? I did. He didn't like them. Two different animals. They put these in, and they've suggested, and even point blank asked and insinuated, that he's impatiently waiting for her to bring drugs home because he wants to use the drugs. We need to be able to prove that no, she was out banging the drug dealer, and he just wanted her to come home so they could go to sleep together.
Now, after a brief recess and after reviewing existing Georgia Supreme Court case law, Judge Tammy Stokes decided to rule with the state allowing those text messages to be part of evidence. So we will be sure to hear those in the coming days. Right now, testimony is still continuing with
Let me go back to that again. Hold on.
Drugs home because he wants to use the drugs. Put these in, and they've suggested, and even point blank asked and insinuated, that he's impatiently waiting for her to bring drugs home because he wants to use the drugs. We need to be able to prove that no, she was out banging the drug dealer, and he just wanted her to come home so they could go to sleep together.
Now, after a brief recess and after reviewing existing Georgia Supreme Court case law, Judge Tammy Stokes decided to rule with the state allowing those text messages to be part of evidence. So we will be sure to hear those in the coming days. Right now, testimony is still continuing with the babysitter's daughter. I'm going to head right back into court, get more of that, and bring you the latest tonight at 6. For now, outside of the Chatham County Courthouse, I'm Andy Cole, WJCL 22 News.
A lot of new information. Andy, thank you so much for those updates.
Well, that needs to be admitted because it shows she wasn't at the house taking care of her children, that he was left behind to keep the children. He also had some resentment in taking care of the children, okay? And naturally, her attorneys are going to use it as reasonable doubt that he could have hurt the children. Although she lied about what she was doing that night, she's seen it apart. If they don't show her actually getting out of the truck and dumping the child, she'll probably allow them to use Danny as the scapegoat. Well, that was him driving the truck. He was getting out. She just said that. So really, it's abuse of a corpse. Yeah, she knew the baby was dead, but she didn't do it. Are we going to have a repeat of the story I brought you before of the little white girl who was killed by the boyfriend and the girlfriend said, well, it wasn't me, it was my husband or whatever. Wow. Out banging a boyfriend, dope dealer. That's what the state is saying about Leilani. No, it wasn't that he was waiting on her to bring drugs home. He's waiting for her to come home so they can sleep together. Is that true? And even if she's out scoring the drugs, he may not have known that she was sleeping with the drug dealer, because who's going to tell that? Oh, yeah, I'm banging a drug dealer. And we also hear from him that there were times he woke up, she wasn't even there. So it couldn't have been that he was sitting there waiting on the dope, because she's not there. So she's smoking the dope, probably with the dope dealer, because you do have dope dealers that dig in their own sack. She's out screwing the dope dealer and God knows who else, getting high, probably prostituting with other men. Stay woke. And I won't doubt that she's probably out there spreading diseases and catching diseases. I won't doubt that they both had diseases. See, nobody's talking about shit that's obvious. The elephants that are in the room. She's out here sleeping with a dope dealer. She's probably sleeping with other men. Probably out there having sex with men not using protection. Could have been out there working truck stops, anything. Stay woke. Because let me tell you something about a man. He might screw you, but he ain't about to feed you all the dope just for no piece of tail. He probably gonna tell you, well, you want to get out here and make some money and pay me for my time. So you don't know people. And obviously people really didn't know Leilani Simon. She wasn't just a crappy mother. More than likely, she probably was a streetwalker too. Because there's no way I'm gonna believe she was only sleeping with the dope dealer. She probably was sleeping with other men as well to get money. The fact that she's not coming home, period. What the hell you think she was doing out there the whole time? Just always having sex with the dope dealer? No, I don't know if I believe that. Because really there's nothing special about Leilani. She's not a bad looking girl, but come on, get serious. And the fact she's mouthing stuff off in court, she knows that camera's sitting there in front of her. She's making all these weird facial expressions. She knows the camera's there. The other day she was chewing on her fingernails, little nasty bat. She's a child. She has the mind of a child in a woman's body. A dope fiend who didn't give a damn about herself or her kids. And she didn't have a good role model growing up. Parents obviously didn't have good grandparents either. So this is the road that she paved. Billy Joel now has 2 children who have been accused of murder. One's already incarcerated, a boy child, and now her daughter stands trial for murdering her son, 20-month-old son. You have all these allegations of her mistreating the child, not bringing the child over to the house, taking the child over to the babysitter's house, properly clothed with Pampers, diapers, formula, milk, food. See, that's where Michelle messed up. You shouldn't have been providing all that stuff. That's the reason why they wouldn't do it. See, you have to lead by example. I said this same stuff 2 years ago pertaining to Michelle the babysitter. You help aid this too. Nobody gets a pass in my book because I know I'm not going to let nobody come in here and drop their child off without no damn diapers. So this is why I said this is bullshit. Soon as you come in the door with just the children and I don't see no overnight bag, I'm going to stop you right there. Oh, wait. Where's the diaper bag? Come on now, pay attention, because I'm woke. I'll stay woke. I'm stopping you at the door, because that's my house. So you come to the door with 3 kids. 1, you're not paying me. End of the day, you ain't paying me all my money. Your children don't come back here, just like at a regular daycare. You don't cut the check on Friday to the daycare, your child can't come back. Say it again, Queen. Your child don't come back, don't bring your child back unless you got my damn money. So it's the same thing with a personal babysitter. Your child comes to the door with you and you don't have no food, no overnight bag, carry-on bag. Why am I letting you come in my house? They couldn't expect her to just keep feeding the kids, and buying things for the kids. That's not her job. and $200 for 3 kids, that was a fair shake. Because right now, if you go into a daycare, it's probably that alone for 1 kid, 100 or more per head. Per head, per week. You can't assume somebody's going to watch your child for 8 or 9 hours and don't get no money. We're not in that time where you're giving people $30, $40 a day to keep a kid all damn day. Those days are gone. It is sky high rent now. Water, electric, food. You're not even breaking even. Now, naturally, if it's an infant, they're going to have their own formula, their own milk. But hell, you're bringing a baby to somebody's house without damn diapers. You're bringing a toddler to somebody's house without diapers. Do you know how expensive diapers are? I don't know. I haven't checked lately. I ain't trying to find out, but you understand what I'm saying. Why should I have to go to the store or Walmart to buy diapers for your kid? How am I gaining? And then you're not even paying me. Because I think there are times they didn't even pay. That's the reason why Danny didn't want to pay. You know, hey, what we paying for? And Leilani's laying up in the bed and won't get up and go to work. That makes sense. Because I questioned that back then. Why did he call back and not leave the children there? Oh, because Leilani slept in. So I thought something was nefarious going on with Danny back then, but now we're hearing he allegedly didn't see the kid in the play pack, but yet he did lie and say that he did originally, which he should have never done that. I'm not gonna lie for you. I don't care if I love you, I care for you. I'm not gonna lie for you. Because anybody would have said to himself, okay, there's a whole child missing. Why am I going to lie and say the child was there when I didn't see the child? But that's what she was hoping he would do. But see, where she fucked up was going to that mobile park, being seen, car being seen, her car being seen through the city on camera lights. Her car was tagged. That was mentioned in court by law officials. The car drew suspicion because it was running around the city. Then you have the camera at the mobile park. So they had already put 2 and 2 together pertaining to Leilani's movements. And she should have known that when she was talking to them in interrogation. Okay, they know something. But yet she never folded, even lied to the news. If they find that I've done something wrong, blah, 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 I'll turn myself in. You know you did something wrong. You killed your kid. So number one, how did she murder Quentin Simon? Where did she murder the child? Anybody in the house heard or saw something suspicious? What did she take the child out in? See, I haven't heard none of that. He's not a big kid, but she had to take him out in something. And then he's mixed in with debris. So that's why I was wondering, was he in what, a tub, a box, a plastic bag, what? Garbage bag, what? But they said all they found was a bone. Do you know how fucked up that is to hear that about a baby? All they found was a bone to identify Quentin Simon. A 20-month-old beautiful baby boy reduced to just a bone. Did Danny Youngkin know that she was sleeping around with the drug dealer? Did he know that she was sleeping around with any other guy? Female. How long has she been using drugs? How long had he been using drugs? Did she get turned on using drugs by him or somebody else? We now know where the money was going, so they couldn't pay the babysitter anyway. They couldn't also buy diapers, wipes, things the children need because they were addicts. Danny told us in court he don't drink or anything anymore, but does he still use any other type of drugs such as marijuana, pills, Xanax? Because nobody's going to sit in court and say, yeah, I still use narcotics. Why would you do that? How does he feel about not having custody of his child? Has he tried to get custody of his child? Is he stable now? Where does he live? Does he have a full-time job? Does he have a car? Is he doing well mentally? 2 years have passed. He still don't have his child. That would be a problem. Because at some point, if the state realizes you're not trying to get your child back, you're not trying to comply with the regulations, they will eventually sever your rights. And I think we learned that in dealing with the case here in East Tennessee pertaining to Summer Wells. You don't do your part, we're going to sever your rights. We're not going to chase you to give you your child. We will give you your child back when you do what you need to do. But you don't do what you need to do, you're not getting your child back. Summer Wells' brothers, excuse me. You lead by example. That's the gist of the story. And that's what's the problem with this story here. Nobody led by example. That's why 2 kids are in the States carrying, one's dead. Everybody's now testifying after the fact, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's too late for that now. Will Billy Joel be called in to testify? Because the courts need to hear why she had custody of 2 of the children, but yet was living a separate life away from the house. That needs to be entered in. How she came to get custody, why did she get custody of the children, and why was she not physically there to take care of the children? People need to hear that. And as someone said in a news segment the other day, why hasn't she been arrested and charged with child neglect, child abuse as well? Because her name is on the paperwork for those 2 kids. So she needs to stand account as well. You were part of the problem as well. And why did this woman hate Quentin Simon? What did that little person do to her for her to have such hate and contempt for him? Why was she hurting this child, pushing him down, throwing him in a fucking dirty ass swimming pool? That's pure hate. And naturally, the murder of the child is definitely pure hatred. But what do I always say on this network? Don't ask why, ask why not. Because that's how a perpetrator thinks. Why are you asking me why I did this to him or her? I did it because I could. I don't need a reason. You need the reason. I don't. I did it because I could. I beat the child because I could. I hurt the child because I could. I strangled, suffocated the child because I could. And as I said before, if you can kill one, you can kill another one. Crappy mom is putting it mildly, pertaining to Leilani Simon. She's a demon seed spawn. And sadly, other people rode the donkey ride into the abyss alongside her by not calling DHS pertaining to abuse. And so this shit she's talking about, the babysitter, she was contacted by DHS. Well, what relevance is that pertaining to the case? Because he's dead. So when did DFACS call you or contact you? Because this isn't a savior moment here. We're not talking about a child that's in foster care with somebody else and Leilani's being charged with neglect and child abuse. We're talking about a whole dead kid. And that was a damn good question asked. Why didn't you call on your own? Not wait for somebody to call you. Why didn't you call? Because there's no way I would continue to let that child come in my possession with his brothers and sister looking nasty. They're nasty. They don't have what they need while they're in my care. Because like I said, it was her job to tell Danny, tell Leilani, because those are the people she was dealing with, not Billy Joe. And running and calling Billy Joe to say, they ain't doing this, they ain't doing this. What's the point in that? Billy Joe wasn't even there in the state. What you calling her and complaining to her for? See, this shit makes no sense to me. I'm not gonna call her mom to tell on her. No, I'm gonna talk to her. I got her number. I'm gonna talk to her. She's the mama. She's the grand poobah. I'm gonna talk to her. Hey, where's my money, number one? Number two, why don't you have clean clothes for these children? Why don't you have food, snacks, whatever? I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna let her know, I can't take care of your children, sweetheart. I got my own life to live. I like your children, love your children, but they're not my children. So I need you to step up if you want me to be a part of taking care of your children. You cannot expect me to take care of your children for free, number one. You cannot bring your children over to my house half-baked. You cannot be bringing a shitty child to my house without a fucking diaper. Now I gotta wash clothes, wash out shitty clothes and all that. See, I'd have never done that. You're not going to drop off no baby with no shit at my house. Say it again. You are not about to bring a shitty baby over here. Times 3. That's the first thing I'm going to say as soon as I smell the baby. What's this here? You didn't change the diaper? You didn't get a baby a bath? And you think you're going to bring the baby to me? Foul? So I can do the cleanup work on your child? So that means if the baby's shitty, he also probably got cooties too. Checkmate. Come on with it, Queen. That means they probably had cooties as well. Because if a child ain't clean, you know they're gonna get head lice. Hello? So now you're bringing that in my house. Hell no. I'd have stopped it the first day. Oh, wait a minute, bruh. Why the baby smell? Where the diapers at? Oh, we ain't got none. That's why I said this is all bullshit. Because I don't know how you can go to somebody's house with a child, children, and ain't got no motherfucking diapers. So what am I supposed to put on your child, children, for 8 or 9 hours? Dishcloths? This ain't the fucking 1600s, 1300. Well, we ain't got no money. Can you go buy some Pampers? Take it out to pay that we owe you. I'm sure that's exactly what their conversations were like. We'll pay you back later. We'll pay you back later. So now you're a nursemaid, a butcher, baker, candlestick maker. You're feeding the kids, you're clothing the kids, but then you might as well went to the courts and filed for custody. Why not? Nobody gets a pass in my book. Because I would be ashamed to sit in a courtroom and explain to a judge and a jury that I allowed children to come into my possession, nasty, filthy, and I had to buy clothes, buy things, and then say in the same breath, oh, they love me, the children love me, he loved me. But yet I'm not doing due diligence to call the state and say, okay, I gotta call somebody. She probably don't want to call because she knew they would know she's the one that called, because they're going to describe the incidents to the parents. So Leilani and Danny, Billy Joe, they would know, okay, Michelle had to be the one to call, because they're going to know where they took their children. So they're going to know, oh, well, we took the child over there. She had to be the one to call. But hey, sometimes it has to roll that way. The truth has to come out. It's just the way it is, because the children end up paying the price in the end. We have a whole dead kid. So, see, you can't go back now. This ain't no do-over. This ain't no dress rehearsal. You gave them a pass to abuse the children because you're worried about them, knowing it was you calling. You live nearby. I get it. They were bullies. They like to show out, fall out, run up in people's houses and shit with cameras and shit. But as I said, it's what you allow, because had you bucked up and showed them, hey, you ain't ready to run over me. You ain't ready to intimidate me. And you a big girl, Michelle. Ain't no way Billy Joe would have ran up on me. And you sitting up her damn near 400 fucking pounds. You should have wore her ass out that day she ran up in your house. You sitting there reared back in a damn easy boy, lazy boy, letting somebody come there and holler and scream. I would have wore her ass out. Because by law, when she pushed that door open, her ass was mine. Say it again, Queen. Her ass would have been mine. I'd have beat the brakes off of her and called 911 and told them, I got a package here. You might want to come pick it on up. It's what you allow. That's why they treated Michelle like they did, like a damn dog. So they had no respect for the children. They had no respect for the babysitters. So hell yeah, they dropping off the kids shitty, smelly, funky, ain't giving a diaper bag, overnight bag with nothing for the children, because you allowed it to start that way. You allow it, they'll continue to do it. And I've had incidents, 1 or 2, with people who brought their children to me foul. You think the child came back to my house? Hell no. Because I'm not going to be a party to no abuse. You coming over, your child is sick, hollering and screaming and whining like there's something wrong with them. I don't want the child to come back no way, because I'm not about to be a party to some shit when some shit pop off. Ain't nobody gonna accuse me of abusing nobody, baby. I let that be known day one. If I see your child acting strange and peculiar, I sense that they're not getting the proper care, the child don't come back in my house. Because see, you have to own the part that you play. I've kept a baby many years ago. The girl didn't want to pay me. Got to chase her down to get my motherfucking money. Then finally she paid me. You think I was going to let her bring her child back to my house? Never. Second scenario, your child hooping and hollering and screaming uncontrollably, had an ear infection. We found out later, had to end up going to court over that situation. And they end up still letting the child stay in the care of these nasty ass white couple whose baby I kept. And then later we found out they lost custody of that same child. So see, this is why I keep trying to tell you, I went to court on that incident. Oh, we don't find anything wrong with how they're treating the kid. But then later you look up, you get word of mouth. Oh, girl, they lost that baby. Right, of course. So why was I in court for that child? Judge didn't find fault. But then years later, the child's missing and gone in somebody else's care. Checkmate. That's the point. Because things don't always go as you think they should pertaining to the abuse of children, child neglect. They give passes to bad parents. And luckily that child didn't die in their care. You see where I'm going with that? That's my point. You can't be a party to the bullshit. I don't be a party to children that's neglected. You got one time to come to my house with a child and I see some foul shit. You're not bringing that child back at my house. Because I'm not going to walk around with that on my conscience knowing I'm keeping a child that I believe has been abused or neglected. That means I'm a part of the bullshit too. And then I'm afraid to say something because I'm worried about falling out with you or you going to retaliate against me. No, we just going to fight tooth to knuckle. You do what you have to do in life. You have to make sacrifices sometimes. And when you're talking about the safety of a child, you got to do what's right by the child. Sometimes that means you're going to be outed as the person that made the DHS call. It's just the way it is. And I don't believe in lying on a person to make up something, but maybe you have to tell a little white lie to get DHS involved or police. I say police. You know that the people are being abused and you don't want nobody to know that you've seen things. Just say that you saw the child wandering in the street. That was the allegation here. Make up something. Just say, yeah, there's a child wandering in the street, half naked. And then let the police show up. Because they're going to come in the house. Hey, you mind we come in? We need to talk to you about your baby. Trust me. You live in fire with a kid, you don't want the police in your house. And that's when the police is going to see the truth. And they ain't going to know who called. They're not going to know. There's ways of bypassing things. That's why I said you have to sometimes bypass DHS. Because a lot of times they don't do what they need to do as far as removing children from a bad situation. So call the police. Hey, I heard screaming. Hey, I saw a child wandering. Hey, I saw somebody yanking on a baby. They don't know who called, especially if they just left out in the car with a kid. They were somewhere. They don't know who called. Yeah, sometimes you have to, as they say, play devil's advocate to get justice. As I said, I don't recommend lying, but if you think it's going to be a matter of your safety, just do an announcement through the police department because they're not going to know who called, especially if they were out and about. And you know they went out. Or let's say you was out and you saw them shopping, call 911 then. Oh yeah, I see this lady, she's beating on her kid. This is the description, this is the car she's driving. Like I said, I don't recommend making up stuff, but if you know for sure that their children are being abused, and like I said, you live around the people and you're worried about them putting two and two together that you might be the one that called, I don't think a little white lie would hurt. If it'll save a child's life. Because if you know that the child is being neglected and abused, it ain't gonna matter about that one little phone call. They'll find out the truth anyway. And then we see in this case, these people had drugs and shit in the car. I mean, alcohol bottles and all that kind of stuff. So the children would have been removed anyway, just in seeing liquor bottles and shit in the car. See what I'm saying? That's why I said there's ways of doing things where people don't know it's you who've made the phone call. That's my content, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is a 5-part live. Garth Brooks is now revealed the photo of his accuser, Jane Roe. They're doing a tit for tat right now. Sean Puffy Combs, new allegations. One coming from a guy who was a minor at the time. More allegations with women. One woman claims she was sexually assaulted with a remote control because she accused him of killing Tupac Shakur. Other famous people linked with him: Cuba Gooding Jr., Aaron Hall, the infamous sex tape. Don't know who was in that tape. Don't know how many people have copies of that tape. Don't know if that name will get out. Other accusers have paid allegedly victims. Don't know who the accusers are and how many victims have been paid. But Mr. Busby told us that about a week or two ago. How many more people are going to bring allegations against Sean Puffy Combs? He also wants the accusers' names to be revealed publicly. All the people who are accusing him of SA. R. Kelly, his daughter has come out, Joan, to say he abused her as a child. The mother stopped sending her and her brother and sister over there to his home. DHS did investigate, but allegations were unfounded. She now has been giving her commentary in a documentary. That she also checked herself into a psych ward for 2.5 weeks. It was suicidal from the essay from her father. She also has a child who she will not take to the prison to see the grandfather. Sarah Boone, court has started for her. Her defense is that she was a battered woman by her boyfriend, Mr. Jorge Torres. Died suffocated inside of a suitcase. She filmed it and taunted him while in the suitcase. Leslie went upstairs and went to sleep. Also, testimony from others, ex-husband, that she called him before reporting him dead. Also, a neighbor testified that she stayed drunk. They stayed drunk all the time and fought a lot while he lived there as a college student, as a neighbor. And then Leilani Simon. Several people testified, different forensics, doctors, law officials, Babysitter, her daughter, Danny Youngkin, an ex-friend. And so far, nobody has anything nice to say about their dealings with she and her children. And as I said before to everybody, that if indeed he complained to Paul about keeping those kids, how do you know that he didn't mistreat the children? Now, the brother is saying that he seems to have gotten along with Quentin and the other children, but when a person becomes frustrated and feels obligated and mistreated, they do lash out. So just like Leilani was lashing out at Quentin and other people high on cocaine, who's to say Danny wasn't lashing out as well on the children because he got tired of taking care of them? And the fact that he called all 3 of the children mean-ass children, well, one of those children was his own damn kid. Stay woke. So that means he didn't always have a favorable opinion of her kids. And what have I always said? Imagine what you don't know. Exactly. How do you know that he didn't abuse the children as well? Because you got to remember, if she's running around the street getting high and sleeping with the dope dealer, you don't know what Danny was doing to those children while she was gone. Checkmate. And the brother ain't going to tell everything. Because the brother got to still walk around because he's free and Danny's free. Stay woke. So did Danny Youngkin abuse those children as well? Talk down to them, pinch them, push them too? Just saying. Because at some point, he could lash out. He could have lashed out as well. He's aggravated with keeping these kids. His girlfriend's out running the street. They both getting high on drugs, drinking. Come on, everybody, pay attention. Because I'm woke. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Take the post on my community page. Feel free to comment on the community page. Said content and updates. When I get more information pertaining to all 5 subjects, I will bring you an update. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Thank you all. Lo, Jess, Patricia, Beauty 78, and Margaret E. Hello, Margaret. Good seeing you. Came in late. You have to watch the replay. Check out the Queen's content from earlier. I'm having some issues right now. Don't know what's really going on with my female body, but Sweet Eve showed up, threw me for a loop. As most of you know, in that commentary, I hadn't seen a cycle since October 18. I was on a depot shot for many years. Naturally, I took the shot longer than I was supposed to. So I don't know if this is just backup of my body releasing itself, but it's strange to me. And my fear, as I said before in that commentary, I was worried that all these years I could have gotten pregnant if indeed that's what's going on. I've had a pap smear recently. Everything seemed to be on the up and up. So I'm trying to figure out what is exactly going on with my body. I don't know, but I will be calling tomorrow to see if I need to get another exam just to make sure everything is okay. I'm not praying for the worst because one, I'm a child of God and I'm highly favored, and I'm not claiming anything negative. I'm not claiming anything cancerous or anything, because right now it just seems like a regular cycle. But the point is I haven't seen anything since October of 2018. And it wasn't a full one then. So it's kind of like, this is a weird shit. But I did a lot of Googling today. And one thing that was said about the depot shot, you could get a cycle years later after coming off of the shot. So I don't know if this is part of menopause, pre-menopause, perimenopause, or this is an effect from the depot, or there's something else serious going on. Don't know. But I will find out when I get an update. I will bring you that information. Prayers for the Queen. Check out my content yesterday where I go live, and or today rather, where I let you know what's going on, how I felt yesterday, where I was down and feeling kind of sick and didn't know if it was just me being depressed about something, which was strange because I said I wasn't depressed yesterday when I woke up, but I just started feeling weirded out. So go on that journey with me, and you'll understand where I'm coming from, to why I have concerns pertaining to this new dilemma. I'm just praying that everything's okay with my female organs. But as I said to family members today, if something comes back that there's something wrong with the Queen, they can take it all out. I won't have a problem with that at all. That's my content, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is live number 2, 5-part live. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you. Have a wonderful weekend.